Imagine, for a moment, that you're holding $300 billion in the palm of your hand. Take a second to actually visualize it. It's not just a number, it's a force of nature. It's a fortune that could change the course of history, reshape industries, and secure your family's bloodline for 1,000 years. Now, imagine taking a pen and throwing it all away with a single, ordinary signature. And you do it for the price of a used laptop, $800. This is not a psychological horror story or a scene from a Hollywood tragedy. This is the experienced reality of Ronald Wayne. 1976, Ronald made a choice. He decided to sell his 10% stake in a startup called Apple. At the time, his decision was perfectly logical. It was rational and it was safe. But how does the most experienced man in the room lose everything, while the two reckless kids next to him become the architects of the modern world? Was it just luck? Or is there hidden software buried deep within our psyche that carries some of us to the summit, while quietly burying others in the dust of history? And today, we're dissecting the invisible line between triumph and tragedy, the paradox of success. I'm Max Planer. And let me explain. To understand Ronald's mistake, you have to look at the atmosphere in that garage in 1976. You had Steve Wozniak, the technical genius, Steve Jobs, the visionary firebrand, and then there was Ronald Wayne. He was the adult in the room. He was the one who drafted the original partnership agreement. But while the two Steves were dreaming of a personal computer revolution, Ronald was haunted by a monster. Fear. Ronald had tasted failure before. He had debts, he had assets he wanted to protect. While the kids had nothing to lose, Ronald felt he had everything on the line. 12 days after signing the agreement, just 12 days, he walked away. He took his $800 and chose the secure path. Look closely at this. In behavioral economics, we call this loss aversion. Your brain is hardwired to feel the sting of losing $100 more intensely than the thrill of winning $100. Ronald Wayne didn't just sell a stock. He succumbed to primal instinct. He was so focused on the possibility of Apple failing, which was a statistically high probability, by the way, that he left no room in his mind for the possibility of his success. He chose to protect his $1 today at the cost of his $1 billion tomorrow. Think about your own life. How often do you make decisions based on what you might lose? Well, let's be honest with ourselves. The reason most people never reach their full potential is not a lack of talent, it's analysis paralysis. The more intelligent you are, the more rational reasons you can find for why something won't work. You can see every risk, every flaw, and every potential catastrophe with surgical clarity. You think you're being smart, but in reality, you're just building your own cage. Your brain wasn't designed to make you successful. It was designed to keep you alive. It wants you in the safe zone. This is why most people stay in soul-crushing jobs or refuse to take that one leap of faith. Your biology whispers that the known bad is safer than the unknown good. This is the status quo bias. What separated Jobs and Wozniak from Ronald wasn't a lack of fear. They were terrified, but they learned to calculate something Ronald ignored: the cost of inaction. Ronald saved us $800. He paid for it with the greatest fortune in human history. Take a moment, look at your current situation. Right now, as you watch this, how many Ronald Wayne moments are you living through? How many times have you said, the timing isn't right? How many times have you delayed your future just to protect a comfort zone that isn't even comfortable anymore? Ronald Wayne is 80 years old today. He lives in a modest house in Nevada. He claims he has no regrets, and maybe, in his own way, he found peace. But the halls of history are crowded with the people who made logical decisions and became invisible. The summit is reserved for those who choose a form of controlled madness over common sense. The success software of the 1% works differently. They don't see a risk as a threat, they see it as a lack of information. They understand the asymmetry of risk. If your downside is limited, but your upside is infinite, then standing still is the only true danger. When you look at the story of Apple's third founder, don't just see a missed paycheck, see the invisible fear behind your own decisions. The next time you're about to say no to an opportunity because it feels risky, ask yourself, am I protecting my present or am I killing my future? So, our choices write our destiny. And as Ronald Wayne learned the hard way, sometimes the safest path is the most dangerous one you can take. I am Max Planer, and I'll see you in the next explanation.